What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Review for Attack on Titan, the final season. This is episode 18, and with me, as always, I have Blue Spit.
Before we start, can we talk about that? That I don't know. What do you call that face on Yelena?
I have no idea.
At that one point in the episode, it's just like
It honestly, I was trying to think of what it reminded me of, and it actually reminded me of something like a facial expression that Squidward would make. Like, it just doesn't seem like a realistic expression. And I really have no idea what that facial expression was really trying to convey. Like, I thought that it seemed like, I guess she was just very upset with Armin, and then she just completely changed her facial expression to where she seemed to be like pleased with Armin saying he was gonna help out the Jaegerists. But yeah, when I first saw that picture, I actually thought it was like a Photoshop or something. Like, I didn't think it was real. But yeah, apparently it's real.
I mean, I could assume that she's skeptical of Armin's sudden allegiance to the Jaegerists.
It is very strange, because if you remember in one of the previous episodes, Armin kind of and he was clearly faking it, but he was saying how he really sympathized with Yelena's goal when they were all locked up. And it was kind of obvious he was messing with her, or he was just, kind of screwing with her. But honestly, at this point, I'm not exactly sure what Armin's deal is, because I thought at first he was kind of just trying to manipulate her, which would have made sense, but she's not there anymore, and he's talking to everyone else and saying we need to help, we need to support Eren and his plan, and support the Jaegerists, which kind of surprised me. I mean, I haven't read this far in the manga, but I was kind of under the impression that Armin was pretty firmly against what Eren was doing. I'm guessing there must be some point later on where Armin, for whatever reason, just decides he's all of a sudden against it. But he knows what Eren's going to do, because the way he's talking in this episode, he knows that Eren plans to wipe out Marley.
He only says this while he's in front of Yelena. So
no. I'm saying in this episode, he's not in front of Yelena. When they break out of the prison cell, he's talking about this. Yelena's not there. It's just on Young.
I mean, he wants to help Eren, but he wants to do it in a way where it doesn't line up with Zeke's goal of I guess.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Euthanizing.
Yeah, I mean, Armin is under the impression that Yelena and Zeke are basically forcing Eren to go along with this, which he's. I'll just say it's kind of the other way around. They're kind of, both of them are being played by Eren, but of course that's not really gonna. I guess slight spoiler. They're not gonna reveal that yet, but I think pretty much everybody could have guessed that.
Yeah, Armin did say that he wants Eren to use the rumbling to protect Paradise Island from Marley for, he says, for 50 years-ish or something. So I mean, so he does want Eren's help, but I'm not under the impression that Armin wants to follow Zeke's plan in particular of euthanizing.
Well, no, yeah, we know that he doesn't want to go along with Zeke's plan, but he does seem to be in support of Eren's plan. Maybe the thing, I guess, maybe the deal breaker for him is that he doesn't want full on rumbling. He doesn't want the rumbling to just completely wipe them all out. Maybe most of them. Maybe that's where he's gonna have that's the deal breaker for him. It's he only wants a certain percentage of people to be wiped out by the rumbling. But of course, it's not really how the rumbling works. But I guess, of course, he probably doesn't know that. But yeah, I guess maybe that's what Armin has in mind. But we're still not exactly sure. But for now, it seems like Armin is pretty much in support of what Eren's going to do. So, and again, I don't know if this. I guess this probably is how it happens in the manga. I'm really not going to know what's going to be if there are changes. I'm not really sure if there were any in this episode, so I can't say for sure. I guess that's going to be for the manga readers to determine.
Yeah. Throughout the entirety of the episode was just nonstop action left and right with Eren fighting off Rhaina and Porco at the same time. And then all of a sudden, Zeke suddenly appears and, just pretty much just slingshots stones everywhere, including like using them to take down all the airships that Marley was using.
Yeah, I did like how there did seem to be a little bit less CG in this episode. There was more like 2D Titans, especially with the Beast Titan. Though, yeah, there were scenes where he was CG. But it felt like there were more scenes where they were 2D, which I appreciated.
Yeah, and Peak tries to use her cannon strapped to her back to, to pretty much take down Zeke. But unfortunately, Zeke catches on and pretty much keeps her at bay for a while until like the Jaegerists try to attack her. But that, of course, leads into what happens near the end of the episode. I think what else happened? Oh yeah, and then there was some more scenes with Gabby. Gabby's development of pretty much admitting that she was wrong and treating like.
We basically find out what happens with Falco too, because of course we didn't see him in the last episode. Basically, he's I forget the name of this guy, the military, the guy in the MP, but he's basically talking with Falco and telling him like how he has a wife and kids, and he doesn't want to die or something like that, and it seems like Falco can kind of sympathize. And I mean, even in the first part of the final season, Falco was generally more sympathetic towards the Eldians than Gabby was, because Gabby was just more brainwashed than he was, I guess. But yeah, Falco basically, we see things from his perspective, and we also, of course, we know that, of course, now Armin and the rest of them have been set free, and they're kind of, the Jaegers try to stop Armin at first, but he says, he's trying to help out Eren, so they decide not to stop them. So they basically let all the prisoners out, including Pixis. So yeah, all of them are set free. And Falco is basically kind of let outside of the castle, where they, he eventually ends up seeing Gabby and Colt, and he gets reunited with them. I'm sorry, I forget the character's name, but he basically is led back to them, and at first Colt was going to shoot him, but surprisingly Gabby stops him. So this kind of shows some pretty big character development with Gabby, that she doesn't want to just immediately kill him. But yeah, they kind of trust him to. I guess Gabby kind of trusts him to an extent that he's not going to do anything, and of course, he lets Falco go with them, basically lying to the others and saying he's going to tie him up in a house. So then, like, Gabby, Colt, and Falco run off and try to I guess regroup with the rest of the Marleyans.
Yeah. Well, of course, Gabby overhears Sasha's family passing by, wondering where she and Falco are. But unfortunately, I think I forgot the other girl's name.
Kaya.
Yeah. So like, she overhears her that she feels no sympathy for Gabby after what she did to Sasha last season, and she won't hesitate to kill her if she ends up seeing her again. So, and this pretty much breaks Gabby to the point where, like, she was wrong in, like, in treating the Eldians as devils the entire time.
Yeah, and that she can understand where Reiner was coming from, that basically the people on the island weren't devils, they were humans. And this is kind of, I was actually kind of shocked. Like, I mean, I knew that there was some, I guess, character development with Gabby in the manga, but I'll be honest, I actually didn't expect her to, or at least this kind of, I guess, early on. I mean, maybe eventually she would have, but I didn't expect her at this point to, come to that conclusion. I thought it would be much more, she'd be much more stubborn about it throughout the manga, because I know, a lot of people really hate Gabby, and I mean, I can kind of understand why, but I kind of appreciated that it seemed like she actually showed quite a bit of development in this episode with that one scene. But one other thing I should point out too is that the place they're hiding out in, there's a lot of bird cages. So this is some pretty obvious symbolism with the bird cages. But yeah, there's a lot of them where they're hiding out. But another thing that kind of shocked me too was, Falco just, and I guess I understand, after, realizing that Falco doesn't have much, doesn't have much time left because he could just transform into a Titan at any moment because he took in Zeke's spinal fluid. He pretty much just comes out and admits his love for Gabby. And I was kind of surprised at first, but then when he, basically tells her why he did that, I was like, okay, I guess I understand why he just went ahead and came out with that, because he's pretty much expecting he doesn't have much time left.
Especially the fact that he never wanted Gabby to become, what was it, the Armored Titan?
Yeah, which he pretty much just admits to her face. Yeah.
Yeah, and of course this shocks Gabby to the point where, she already knows the fact that, that he ingested the spinal fluid, and now their next task is to try to reach Zeke and, try to prevent him from screaming and transforming pretty much everyone who ingested his spinal fluid into turning into Titans.
Yeah, basically they're under the impression that if they tell Zeke that Falco took in his spinal fluid, that it might stop him. Which I honestly don't think it would, but that's what they think is going to happen. That's kind of where we leave them for now.
Yeah, and of course, the end of the episode pretty much ends where I think what was it? Peak creates a diversion, faking her death, and this tricks the remaining Jaegers into thinking that she's dead, but unfortunately she's not, because several soldiers end up hiding underneath her Titan skeletal corpse underneath to fire off at some of the Jaegerists, and this leads to I forgot I keep forgetting his name, the commander.
Oh, Magath.
It's Magath. Yeah, he uses the cannon and then just pretty much shoots Zeke right near the nape, and this pretty much causes the Beast Titan to just fall to the ground.
Yeah. And of course, this whole time, Eren is just limping towards him.
And of course, and this gives Rhina and Porco an opening to go after Eren because he has no protection against. It was like Zeke protecting Eren the entire time whenever Rhina and Porco tried to get close to him, and now that Zeke is taken out, Eren is pretty much left vulnerable at this point.
Yeah. So that's pretty much where the episode ends. It seems like things aren't looking good for Eren. We're not sure if he's, because really the thing is that the both of them kind of need to come into contact with each other, and they're trying to stop that. So I think now that he doesn't really have Zeke's support, obviously we know that Armin and the rest of them are going to, I guess, presumably come help out Eren. So they'll probably, and of course they have the Thunder Spears. So I'm guessing what'll happen is they'll probably try to help out Eren and try to fend off some of the, Reiner and Porco with the Thunder Spears maybe. Now that Eren's kind of in a bad position, he's pretty vulnerable right now. But then there's also the question of what to do about the Card Titan. So they might have to take care of that too. Of course, she's no longer in her Card Titan form, but they still have that massive gun. So they kind of need to do something about that.
Assuming if they're not being preoccupied with the Jaegerist, just constantly shooting them.
Yeah. But yeah, I thought this was a pretty good episode. I was a little bit concerned because I heard this would be a more action-heavy episode. But I think for the most part, it looked pretty good. It looked about as good as the last one. If not, maybe a little bit better in some areas because there wasn't as much CG usage, I didn't think. I don't really have too much else to say about it. It was another decent episode, but of course we just get left off on another pretty big cliffhanger, which is gets really annoying after, you get it's pretty much been the case with most Attack on Titan episodes. You just get left off on a cliffhanger and you have to wait another week.
Yeah.
Just find out what's going to happen, especially if you're not a manga reader. So, I don't know if you have anything else to say about the episode.
Yeah, the episode was definitely a big improvement. With its action and its animation quality. Of course, the CG, it's a little left to be desired, but I think on how they animated like Zeke in particular, I think it was kind of an improvement. And I also like the fact that they gave Gabby some much needed development after after what happened to her. Pretty much the entirety of the first quarter of the season.
Yeah. Although I'm not sure if it's going to, if anyone's opinions on Gabby is going to change because of that. Because it seems like even after that, people really still don't really care for Gabby. But like my position on Gabby, at least when she was first shown, and even now, is I could kind of understand why she is the way she is. I mean, she's just been completely brainwashed by Marley for years. So I mean, of course, she's not really going to have a favorable opinion of the Eldians. So I mean, it's kind of understandable why she was that way. But I don't know. Maybe she'll get better as the series goes on too. But I guess we'll see. So that all being said, until next Sunday, we will see you all next time.